So how do you start? Well, you got to start with what you know. You got to start with yourself. What do you know about yourself? Do you know where you were born? Do you know who your parents are? You may have biological parents and adoptive parents. Um, is there any difference? Not to me. My cousin was adopted from Korea. He's part of our family just as much as he's part of the original biological family that he had in Korea. Then you start branching out about you. Well, you might gather information about siblings. Okay, so we just kind of write some things down. What about parents? And you can see we're moving our way back in a genealogy fashion. But start with what you know, get that written down. Places, times, dates, stories. Stories are a lot more interesting than plain old dates. And then parents, grandparents. Okay, there's potentially four grandparents. Some have even more due to mixed families, blended families. And then from there, branch out into relatives. So once you find out the grandparents, what about all your aunts and uncles? What about all their kids? It's important to know locations. Locations will help you find things that you won't otherwise be able to track down. Contact relatives. Find the family historian. I've found that just about every family has a historian. You just need to figure out who it is. Work with them. Sometimes people are reticent. They don't want to tell the story. But if a child writes to grandma and says, "Hey, grandma, would you tell me a story about when you were a kid and about your parents?" That can break the ice, and the child might get a response that you don't get. Kind of a trick, but why not? What does it take to get the info? Photos and documents, gather those. I mentioned earlier, gathering the birth certificates, gather the marriage certificates. If anyone wants to do heritage societies, you need those documents. Photos. Do you label photos? My sister is an expert in the photo area. You can spend a whole talk like we're doing today just about the photos. And then what do you know about social media? People don't really know how to work Facebook. And because of that, they've left Facebook wide open and you can discover a lot of things in Facebook. At this point, I do have to mention privacy. Typically, we do not publish information about people who are still living because it's private and it can be a security risk. So keep in mind privacy about people that you're gathering information. You might want to reassure them. I started in the 70s. Nobody cared about exposing their private info in the 70s. Now they do. So just an idea.